Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew, and what I have for you today is a look at desert camouflage. Stick around. Alright guys, so first up I'm going to do is apply initial camouflage. I'm going to use an improvisational method, and that is going to be the use of charcoal. You can get charcoal from a fire if you have it. Otherwise, in a lot of natural environments like the one I'm in, especially a pine forest, charcoal can be found on the forest floor from a result of previous fires that came through the area. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this charcoal, I'm going to crush it up in my hands, I'm going to rub it around my hands and then on my exposed skin to begin concealing myself. Alright guys, so now what I want to do is I want to move to a position that is away from natural lines of drift or avenues of approach, provides me cover and concealment from the air and ground, and multiple routes of escape. So I've moved to my first hide site. Now what I want to do is apply all that camouflage. I used my improvisational method of applying camouflage earlier once I got off the X because it was a hasty situation. I used terrain to mask my movement into my hide site, and this hide site provides me cover from the air, from the ground, and then multiple escape routes. And it's off avenues of approach and away from lines of drift. Now what I want to do is go into applying my camouflage. So I'm going to break out my actual face paint and apply face paint for a desert environment. In a desert environment like the one I'm in a coniferous forest, I'm still going to use the blotch pattern. Alright guys, so I've got my hunter's kit with me. I'm going to crack this open, and right on top I have 3 camo sticks that I'm going to use, and I'm going to pack my hunter's kit away. Now what we're going to do is apply face paint. I've got my 3 chapsticks here of green, brown, and tan. The same rule applies. I'm going to apply darker colors to the more pronounced features of my face, being the brow, the nose, cheekbones, ears, and jaw, and then the lighter colors to the more sunken in features like the eye sockets, the lips, the cheeks, and the neck. The reason being is that that color combo of pronounced and sunken in features using darker colors and lighter colors breaks up the human face and makes it appear flat in the woodland. Humans right away notice the shoulders to head when they're looking at another human, and so to begin to break up that human outline and make the features appear flat, creating that illusion, we're going to apply dark colors to the brows, to the pronounced features, and lighter colors to the more sunken in features. And start applying blotches. A good way of doing this is either with your fingers to create a blotch, or you can take the chapstick itself and rub it on the surface you're trying to conceal, and then just rub it in, like on my nose here. And so I want to use blotches, but just in different places. I can put it over my ears. Best as possible. And I've started to create that blotch effect. Now, I could take my chapstick, put it away. I'm going to pull out my green and do the same thing. I'm going to try to blend as best as I can, as you guys can see. Trying to connect. I don't want to leave any skin exposed. If you're bald like I am, you want to use a lighter color on that forehead, all right, to prevent shine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just lift my hat up and just go across my forehead a couple times, and then just start rubbing that in as best as possible. If I need a little bit more, just throw some in there. Good to go. Pull my hat down. Now I'm pretty well covered up on my face. Now for my neck, what I can do is take each chapstick and just apply vertical lines like this. And then with that, just rub them in. I can take each color and do the same thing. Going in between the last ones I made, creating slashes, and use my tan and do the same thing. Now I've applied face paint. What I want to do now is capitalize on my clothing. I'm going to start rolling my sleeves down. I want to start covering up all exposed skin. I want to do up my buttons as best as possible to try to cover as much exposed skin as I can with my clothing and save some of that camouflage for later. Notice my hands aren't camouflaged. There's a way we can do that. So what I can do is use the same method that I used on my neck with my hands. I'm going to take my chapstick and make long strokes along my fingers and all over my hands. I want to be careful not to do the underside because I'll probably use this for manual tasks, but I can do it on top, okay? I'm going to start rubbing this in a little bit and do the same thing on the other side. Just rub it in a little bit. Take the other color, green, and do the same thing to both hands. And camouflage my hands all the way up to my sleeves as best as possible. If you look closely, you'll notice there's one dead giveaway on my hands, and that is my watch. Now what we're going to do is start looking at things that shine and that can make noise and start masking those and camouflaging those as well. So what I can do is take my watch and just flip it around and make sure I get my wrists. That way, that watch will not reflect sunlight. Now all skin is camouflaged. I'm starting to go into another step, which is reducing shine of clothing and equipment, and then reducing noise. If you're wearing clothes like I do, you'll notice I have pearl snaps, so I can use camouflage the same way on my face as I can use on my pearl snaps. I can just put camo over top of each snap to conceal it. This brings me to another improvisational method for camouflage. One thing we can use for an improvisational way to create camouflage or camouflage our clothing is natural materials. Once again, one such material can be fruits and berries. One thing that is native to my area is the prickly pear fruit. What we can do is take prickly pear fruit, cut it open, scrape out the seeds, and use the pulp for an improvisational way to create camouflage. Cut this open with my knife, and you'll see once I cut it open there's a lot of good seeds and fruit in there. I can scrape those out and then take the pulp of the fruit and rub it on my clothing. So that's another method of improvisational camouflage. Now what I want to do is start to break up that human outline. So I'll take off my hat, put on my boonie, and you notice the sides of the boonie start to break up my human outline. Another thing I can add for camouflage is a sniper veil. I can drape the sniper veil over me, and you'll see it as starting to break up my shoulder outline. I can go a step further by applying vegetation to the sniper veil. I'm going to start collecting vegetation. Now, I want to pull vegetation from the area I'm in, but I don't want to take it all from one source, because what happens when I take vegetation from a source, it leaves an open wound on the tree. One branch is okay. Too many is too much, and it's going to signal that I was there. I want to avoid that. Now, if I pull vegetation, I want to pull from my surroundings, like I said, but I want to pull from the ground. But if I have to, I can pull from a branch that is standing. The only thing I need to do now is camouflage that to evade the pursuer. Spit into some mud or dirt that's on the floor, create a slurry, and wipe that slurry on this fresh branch, making it appear old. And you guys will see that I put the slurry on there of dirt, and now the branch doesn't look so fresh. It makes it look a little bit older and might fool a pursuer. Now what we can do is take our sniper veil and add more vegetation to it by threading branches through the weave of our sniper veil to give us a makeshift ghillie suit. As part of clothing, I just brought a nice frac U top for covering this with my sniper veil. Will help break up my outline even more. Now what we want to do is talk about counter tracking. Counter tracking is just a way to evade the pursuer at a more skillful level. Talk about is ground spore and air spore. Air spore, a perfect example of that air spore is that broken branch I broke off. And that's air spore, something that's at eye level or so. Ground spore are tracks that we leave. Now looking closely here, you'll see the outline of my track. Not too much in this terrain, but you notice right here there's a small dip where my hand is. That's called a terminating point or terminating end, and that's where my toe dug into the ground as I pushed away from the ground with my step. In muddy terrain, way more visible, and we can see that. There is a way to help counter track with using our socks. We can take our socks off and take the sock and put it over both of our boots. What that's going to do is it's going to make the tread appear older than it actually is in the ground as we walk. Right here, guys, was my track I made with the sock. Now I can walk a little lighter and not go heel to toe so fast and so hard into the ground to make my track appear different. But then you notice the sock just makes this appear flat and very old. Let's talk about odors very quickly. There are a couple of ways we can start reducing odors. Fire, or the smoke from a fire, is a good way to start reducing odor. But that smoke is very noticeable and a distinct smell that humans and animals notice right away. So if there's not a lot of fires in your area, I would recommend not doing that. Another method, similar to using that charcoal that we used, we can use that charcoal to start eliminating odors by applying it to our clothing. We can also use the prickly pear fruit and other fruits from this area to begin reducing our odors or hiding or masking those odors. Another way of doing that is with a lot of scat. We can take fresh scat from the deer and from other animals in this area that's dried out already and begin applying that to our uniform to help reduce odors. Alright guys, so that is desert camouflage. We talked about improvisational ways to camouflage your face, camouflage your skin and your clothing using charcoal or prickly pear fruit. We talked about using camouflage, the blotch pattern for the desert, and then using clothing like the boonie cap, the camouflage jacket, sniper veil to start breaking up that human outline, the first thing humans notice in the woods, and then using vegetation to help break up that outline a little bit more and create more concealment for us as we're on the move. And then we talked about a little bit of counter tracking, camouflaging broken branches as air spore, and then reducing the impact of ground spore through tracks by using our socks covering our boots to make that track appear old. Well guys, if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment in the comments section. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me and for the channel. I want to thank you for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video just as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.